Hi, hello everyone! I'm Toshi from Japan and tourist guide for foreigners. In this video, I'll show you 10 mistakes to avoid in Japan.
I often guide foreign visitors around Japan, whether as a tour guide or just showing friends around. Through these experiences, I've realized there are many things that seem obvious to Japanese people, but are not so well known to visitors from abroad. I've also noticed that some things acceptable in your country might be considered bad manners or even lead to trouble here in Japan. That's why, in this video, I've compiled a list of the top 10 mistakes that foreign travelers often make in Japan, along with tips on how to avoid them. By watching this video, you'll learn how to make your trip to Japan smoother, safer, and more affordable. So, stick around and watch until the end.
So, let's get started. Number 1. Bringing unnecessary items to Japan.
When traveling to Japan, it's essential to pack light. Bringing too much can lead to extra baggage fees on flights and trains and reduce space for souvenirs. One thing you don't need to pack is amenities. Most standard hotels in Japan provide free items like shampoo, towels, toothbrushes, and hair dryers. However, if you have specific personal items you prefer, feel free to bring them. Just be sure to check if you're staying in budget hostels or Airbnb, as they might not offer these amenities. Also, remember that some items allowed in your country may be prohibited or restricted in Japan. Bringing these could result in confiscation at customs or even penalties. Examples of banned items include vegetables, fruits, counterfeit luxury goods, and certain animal leather products.
For more details on what not to bring, check out my previous video. Number 2. Not using tax exemption system.
When I lived in the US, I used Japan's tax-free shopping system as a non-resident to save on purchases. Japan's consumption tax is 10%, so by using this system, you can shop 10% cheaper. However, many foreigners don't know about this benefit or aren't sure how to use it. Here are 5 key points to remember. First, make sure to get an entry stamp in your passport when you arrive in Japan. With automated gates becoming more common, it's easy to forget this. Second, shop at tax-free stores like Don Quijote, Yodobashi Camera, or Uniqlo, which cater to tourists. Third, you need to purchase eligible items. There are 2 categories: general goods like electronics and bags, and consumables like food, alcohol, medicine, and cosmetics. Fourth, your total purchase must be between 5,000 yen and 500,000 yen in a single day. Finally, keep your items sealed and unopened until you leave Japan. If you use or consume them before departure, you'll lose the tax exemption.
Lastly, always check the latest rules on the Japanese government's website before you shop. Number 3. Not using transport IC card.
In Japan, transport IC cards like Suica and Pasmo are essential for travelers. They are not only used for public transportation, but also for shopping at convenience stores, supermarkets, and vending machines. They make travel around Japan incredibly convenient and efficient. Also, not using an IC card means you'll have to buy individual tickets each time, which is not only inconvenient, but also more expensive. I think you might have heard that IC cards like Suica and Pasmo are no longer available due to semiconductor shortages, but here's the good news. As of August 2024, while Pasmo and Pasmo Passport are no longer sold, physical Suica and Welcome Suica cards are still available.
For specific location and how to get them, please refer to my previous video where I explained the details. Number 4. Not obtaining Japanese money.
In many countries, digital payments like credit cards have made carrying cash almost unnecessary. While Japan is moving towards a cashless culture, cash is still king in many places. You might be surprised, but cash is still widely used in stores, restaurants, and even vending machines across Japan. A friend of mine from the US used a credit card culture. Didn't get cash when he first arrived in Japan. He quickly realized that he could only shop where cards were accepted and missed out on visiting some places he really wanted to go. Luckily, getting Japanese yen is easy. You can find currency exchange counters at airports and throughout the city. Plus, if you need to withdraw cash, ATM are available nationwide.
For more tips on getting cash and navigating Japan, check out my previous video. Number 5. Not knowing rules of drinking.
One of the highlights for many visitors to Japan is experiencing the local izakayas, which are Japanese pubs. Japan has a wide variety of places to enjoy drinks, from izakayas and bars to standing pubs and even outdoor drinking spots. You'll find all kinds of beverages, from traditional sake and shochu to beer, whiskey, and wine. But there are some unique aspects of Japan's drinking culture that you might not know about. For example, in many places, you can find deals where you pay a fixed price for all you can drink, which is known as nomihaure. There's also a fun concept called semburo, where you can enjoy drinks and food for around 1,000 yen, perfect for a budget-friendly night out. And if you're up for something different, try kakuuchi, which is enjoying a drink right in a liquor store. Another thing to be aware of is that when you sit down in an izakaya, you'll often be served a small dish called otoshi, even if you didn't order it. This is a traditional appetizer that also serves as a seating charge. Not knowing these customs can lead to unexpected charges or misunderstandings.
For more detailed information on Japan's drinking rules, check out my previous video. Number 6. Following street towns.
Japan is known as one of the safest countries in the world, with low crime rates and a general sense of security. However, even in Japan, there are some exceptions. One of the most common scams involves being overcharged at bars after following a street tout. This scam is particularly prevalent in areas like Kabukicho in Shinjuku and Roppongi. These districts are famous for their vibrant nightlife, but are also hotspots for this type of fraud. It often starts with a tout on the street promising unbelievably cheap drinks or all-you-can-drink deals to lure you into a bar. But when it's time to pay, you're hit with an outrageous bill. Some victims have reported being threatened or even physically assaulted if they refuse to pay. This scam has affected both locals and tourists, leading to frequent police patrols and warnings in these areas. To stay safe, never follow these street touts, no matter how tempting the offer. Always research bars and clubs in advance and check reviews and reputations.
Keep these tips in mind and enjoy your time in Japan. Number 7. Using taxi.
While taxis are a common mode of transportation worldwide, they can be quite expensive in Japan compared to public transit. For example, a taxi ride from Narita Airport to central Tokyo can cost around 25,000 yen, which can be a shock when you consider the overall cost of living in Japan. One of my friends from the US took a taxi from Narita to Tokyo, expecting it to be similar in cost to other Asian countries, and ended up regretting it. Unfortunately, due to legal restrictions, Uber is not available in Japan, so taxis might seem like the only option for travelers. However, before taking a taxi, it's always a good idea to check if there's a more affordable alternative, like public transportation, especially for longer distances.
I hope your trip to Japan is comfortable and affordable. Number 8. Arriving in Japan late at night.
One important factor to consider when arriving in Japan is your arrival time. Public transportation, like trains and buses, doesn't operate late at night or early in the morning. So, if you arrive during these hours, you might not have access to public transport to reach the city or your hotel. This could force you to take a taxi, which, as mentioned earlier, can be very expensive in Japan. For instance, a taxi from Narita Airport, which is about 70 kilometers from central Tokyo, can cost around 25,000 yen. To avoid this, you might want to consider staying at a nearby airport hotel if you're arriving late. There are many hotels around Narita that are cheaper than a taxi ride into the city. Or, for a unique experience, you could even try a budget-friendly capsule hotel.
By planning your arrival time carefully, you can save both money and hassle, ensuring a smoother start to your trip in Japan. Number 9. Talking loudly on the train.
If you've ever taken a train in Japan, you might notice something unusual. It's incredibly quiet, even when it's packed with people. That's because there's an unspoken rule in Japan. You should keep quiet on the train. Let's go over 3 important rules for riding trains in Japan. First, keep your voice down. Speaking loudly or using your phone on the train is considered rude. For many foreign travelers, the contrast of a crowded but silent train can be quite a unique experience. Second, be mindful of the priority seats. These seats are reserved for the elderly, people with disabilities, pregnant women, and those with young children. It's okay to sit in these seats if they're empty, but be prepared to give up your seat if someone in need comes along. Lastly, manage your belongings. In a crowded train, keeping small bags on your lap or in the overhead rack helps ensure everyone has enough space. If you're carrying a backpack, it's polite to take it off and hold it in front of you, so it doesn't bump into others.
These practice sheets were from Japan's respect for others, especially in the highly crowded trains. Number 10. Taking the train during commute times.
As I've mentioned in my previous video, Japan's rush hour trains are infamous for their extreme crowding and packed carriages. During the pandemic, remote work temporarily eased the pressure on public transport. However, with many companies now returning to office work, the rush hour crowds have returned in full force. Trains and stations are once again packed, making commuting during peak times both challenging and time-consuming. To avoid this, I highly recommend steering clear of these crowded hours. Not only will you save time, but you'll also avoid the physical strain of navigating through packed trains. The peak hours typically run from 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. in the morning and 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. in the evening. Shifting your travel time just slightly can greatly improve your comfort and ease while using Japan's trains, making your journey much more enjoyable and stress-free.
How was 10 mistakes to avoid in Japan? Please share your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like button. See you in my next video. Bye!